Maybe. Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert with the Ted Show. Happy Monday. You never know what's going to happen on a Monday morning. Woo! Seems like every day. That's like a full moon every Monday morning. It's craziness, insanity, but I look forward to this show with my dear friend Cindy DeCoster. We're here on Fierce Forward. It's a series here on the Ted Show. And today we're going to talk about one of my very favorite topics because I'm guilty of it. Productive versus busy. When people ask you, I know, Cindy, like, how's it going? I think you asked me and I said, oh, I'm just crazy busy. Well, is that productive busy? And I said, not necessarily. And so I think we all struggle with it. We get challenged by it. So I'm excited for this. So enough about that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again, and happy Monday.
I know. Happy Monday. So tell us a little bit about you for those people who don't know, and then we'll take a deep dive into productive versus busy.
Okay, great. Well, I'm Cindy DeCoster. I am the co-owner of Fierce Realty with my husband, Sean. We have a great brokerage. We have two offices, one in Central Florida, or both in Central Florida, one in Orlando and one in Eustis. So we're excited to help and serve our agents and business partners around the area.
I'm excited for you. This is 2021.
Thank you. Yeah.
Listen, we start today is March kickoff. It's Women's History Month. It's also the month that goes down in history as the craziest month of 2020, I think. Oh, what a nightmare. So I'm very excited to actually be out and about this March, and I'm hoping that we continue along that path. All right, so on Fierce Forward today, we're going to talk about productive versus busy, which Cindy came up with this title, and I love it. So tell us what you were thinking.
Okay, great. So yes, I have, again, I'm with Women's Council of Realtors, and I am running for the 2022 National Treasurer position. I have the opportunity to help our networks around the country. And recently we've been talking about productive versus busy. And one of the things that we've kind of discussed is that everybody has these great goals that they set for the beginning of the year, but how well are they really accomplishing them, and are they moving forward in them? It's often said that motivation kind of gets you started, but it's a habit that keeps you going. And so being in the habit of being busy is not the goal. The goal is actually being productive. So, work towards progress over perfection. I think that's
a good one.
An important distinction. I think we work too hard on trying to be perfect, where we kind of fall short of getting started, or it's once we get started staying. So one of the things, have you ever heard of the 21-90 rule?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's always said that it takes 21 days to create a habit, but it takes 90 days to actually create or change a lifestyle. So oftentimes, you talk about working out or diets or exercise or something like that, and it really, it's difficult to get started. And then once you stay in motion, if you can kind of stick with it for about 3 weeks, it kind of you wake up earlier, your body stops craving the things that you were eliminating and things like that. So, but if you want to make it a lifestyle, you really have to stick with it for 3 months or 90 days. So, so it's not a surprise that that it takes effort. It takes conscious effort to make that habit change become a lifestyle change.
So let me ask you on that, because I think what happens, I didn't know about the 90 days. That probably explains why I haven't been to a gym since the 80s. Truly. But tell us about the productive, because I think people do equate having a whole bunch of stuff to do with being productive. And those two are not necessarily hand in hand. You can have a very busy day, which I've heard a million people say it. I know I've said it. gosh, I'm exhausted from today and I feel like I got absolutely nothing accomplished.
Sure.
And so that's where you run into the busy, like that's busy. And so how do we identify that? Do we need to set goals or milestones so that the busyness then transfers to becoming productive? What's your vision on how that works?
Absolutely. Again, I kind of teach a little class on this. And so if you really want to kind of totally deep dive, I'd love to come out and help you discuss kind of, I've kind of broke it down into like 7 steps. My internet's not great today. Sorry.
It's okay. We can still hear you.
It's having a Monday. So there's 7 kind of key areas to really make sure that we are being as productive as possible. It's said too that productivity is never an accident. It's the result of a commitment to excellence, intelligent planning, and absolute focused effort. So, there's yes, absolutely what you said. Breaking your goal into milestones and then into specific tasks is kind of the step number 1. And you have to absolutely write your goals down and keep them in front of you so that you are making sure that is your agenda, like your goal is your priority, and then setting yourself some milestones, or just so that you know that you are on the right track. It is really easy to get off track. We're both in the real estate business, and so what we do is what others need when they're not working. So our ability to be flexible and maneuver around other people's schedule is really, really important. But it doesn't mean that you have to be so reactive to it. If you will schedule yourself, stick to your schedule, make sure that you are on your schedule, and then kind of teach people how to work with you, so that you can really become the productive. And so one of the things that we're all guilty of, right? If we are going on vacation, we have something fun planned, like, okay, we're doing this at 2:00. Guess what happens? You are super productive up until that deadline, because that is a non-negotiable, right? We're so excited to go on vacation. Right. We're so excited to go to this party or dance or whatever it is that we're going to go to. So we are, oh my gosh, like working with urgency and importance to get those things done. Imagine if you worked like that all the time, so that, it's very true that if we had 6 weeks to do something, we'll take 6 weeks to do it.
We 100% will.
But if we had 6 hours to do that same thing, we'd finish it in 6 hours. Like we're able to, what is the expression that something about work expands to the time allotted, or something? There's a better saying.
There's a theory. There's a, what do they call it? A principle or a law about that. That's what happens. And I think that's why, like, I know people want to kill me, but I'm super scheduled.
Right.
I had to learn how to do that so that I was as productive as I could be during the day. Mm-hmm. And I sometimes struggle with the fact that, Cindy will call me, you haven't, I'm just using you as an example, and say, oh my God, I have to meet with you at 3:00. Is that okay? I don't normally have any flexibility because I set my schedule up sometimes 2 to 3 weeks in advance.
Right.
But I want to be flexible. And so it's hard sometimes when you can also go over the top, which I do, on the way scheduled side. And so you have to find that balance. You want to have flexibility. So if something really cool comes up, a new opportunity, an event, a class, a relationship, a meeting, but you also want to be, like Cindy said, productive and keep the milestones and almost like a checklist. I'm a big checklist person too.
I'm a big checklist person too. We have to be in this world, between your job and Stacy's job and all your loan officers and all your realtors and everything else that you do, you have to be, right? I've got high school students that are involved in crazy sports and running an office with 15 agents, and they're making sure that we're available for them when they need us, and now for the council and being there for everybody, it's important. But here's the secret. So if you schedule yourself in such a way, people will know how you're predictable. You're able to maneuver. And yes, you may not have the hours to just, excuse the expression, but you can, send a quick text and say, hey, can we talk at, sometime today? And then there is time in your schedule to make those additions, if you will.
Yes.
So I'm one of those that, we were talking about social media. It's super easy to get like down rabbit holes on social media.
Get sucked right in.
So you almost have to schedule yourself. Like for me, I have to schedule myself like 2 times a day to kind of get on, check up on people, make sure that I am checking in on people, and then I check out. So like it's just you have to understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Correct.
So that you can kind of move in that direction. And I think if, I'm guilty of the quick text of, do you have a minute to talk? And then, because if not, here's what happens. We spend hours getting half conversations because a text message and an email is a dictation. It's not a conversation.
Right.
I say something, you receive it in whatever mindset you're in, and then then you dictate back to me your response, and it takes twice as long to have the conversation than if I just said, hey, Ted, call me when you have a quick minute, and then boom, right. Boom, boom, we can get the conversation information exchanged and conversation happen. And it takes a whole lot less time to actually have the conversation instead of trying to catch the quick text messages or emails or something like that. So all my friends, I'm sure, are laughing right this minute, because that is probably my favorite text to send is, do you have a minute to talk? And because it's quicker. It's a whole lot
right.
quicker to say, okay, yes, not now, but at 3:00 or at 5:00 or whatever, and then boom, we have the conversation. We handle what we need to handle, and very few things in our business are on fire. There's very few. There's we're not medical, we're not fire departments. It's important, but it's not on fire. And I think that's the important distinction, is to understand that everything in time, in its time,
yes.
kind of thing. And if we can understand, what is on fire versus what is just needs to be handled, is, again, keeping your head up. The bottom line.
It's hard, right? Though, it's hard to
figure.
Your head
about you is important, and
I feel like people they hear us when we say this stuff, but so much of what people do on a daily basis, I call it fire management, crisis
yes.
management. And so they're constantly putting out fires and doing crisis management. And I always say to them, well, how are you always in that? Is it because you're not planning? Was there something you were supposed to do and it fell through the cracks? Sometimes on Mondays, I feel like I'm in crisis management, 100%. Right. But most of the time, I don't operate that way. And I think a lot of people do. And so that's why they're exhausted at the end of the day, because right. they have put out fires, but they haven't necessarily been productive. They've definitely been just busy.
Sure, for sure. Well, one of the big myths to kind of eliminate or bring the elephant to the room and that is multitasking. That is, everybody's like, oh, I'm a great multitasker. I don't think that's a compliment, frankly. It's not. It is the definition of multitasking that I love is not doing any one thing 100%. Like, right? So being a great multitasker is actually nothing to be super proud of. Now, do we have to multitask, and is it likely? Of course. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's be real. But if we really want to be productive, eliminate multitasking. And I always say I'm really great at compartmentalizing. Like if I am here, I am 100% here.
Yes.
I have my phone turned off. I have the little scroll on the top of your computer that dings you every time a notification or an email or whatever. Yeah. Like you have to shut all of that off, because if not, it's like squirrel. Like it's terrible.
It's really difficult because now we have so many different ways to be reached.
Right.
So I have text message, email, phone, Instagram message, LinkedIn message, Facebook message, YouTube message. And I just got my first Twitch message because we just started going live there, and I still haven't figured out that platform. So, but you're answering people you are so accessible. I think that's also what contributes to the epidemic of being busy versus productive, because we literally will drop everything and anything, like you said, squirrel, shiny light, and it does not do good for us to be that way. No. But we don't know how to do it because we're getting hit by 7 different messaging systems, and we're really not sure how to keep up with all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the whole thing, the society has created this instantaneous, like we need everything now, like the speed of now is like that, right? Isn't that like the new phrase? Yeah. Everything at the speed of now. And I don't think that's productive, frankly. It's just not. So if you kind of stick to your agenda, become a little bit scheduled into, I do this at this time, I do this at that time. A lot of problems solve themselves. We like to be the problem solver, but teaching people to solve their own problems is actually a great leadership message. And I think that I love this about our kids. So this generation that we are raising, they have technology at their fingertips. So thankfully, my daughter, she taught herself on YouTube how to make duct tape wallets and these little bracelets and all this stuff, and she figured out that she taught how to braid and all these things that I think we asked our parents and our friends, and right. But now right. They're learning how to solve their own problems. If they want to know something, they Google it. If they YouTube it, they Pinterest it. Like all of these avenues of, rather than, hey Ted, do you know who that is? Or hey yes. Ted, have you? I think that's a great use of technology. I think that's amazing, that if you allow people the space to figure something out. I know that my brother-in-law and I, we were trying to remember, who an actor was or what an actor's name was, and we're like, I could see him, like he was on this, he was that, and it was he had to we had to resist the temptation of going on Google to figure it out. Like, let's exercise our brain a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that you're like, it has to become a conscious effort. It has to be are you working on your agenda, or are you working on someone else's? And if you work on your agenda, if you work towards, look, I want to do this inside 20 minutes. I want to do this inside, and I have all these things. Woo, someone's in trouble. Let's say a quick prayer for them to make sure they're okay. but yeah, if you really want to be productive, just think about if you were going on vacation or you had something that was a non-negotiable to miss, you would get it done because you
Yes.
are focused on it, you are disciplined with your time, and you eliminate your distractions, right?
Yes.
So if you want to be productive, you can absolutely be productive. It just takes focus and determination to accomplish the things that you're looking to accomplish. And again, I've kind of broke it down into like seven specific, areas to kind of manage so that you can work towards being productive. One of the things I'll just leave you with is this. If you think about an arrow, if an arrow wants to go forward, it has to be pulled back. So slowing down, taking your time will actually make you go further faster than being on fire and running with your
Yes.
hair like I'm crazy. So slow down, focus on what's important, keep determined actions towards your goal, and you'll go further faster.
All right. That's it. Fierce Forward for this week. Productive versus busy. Cindy's running for the council, and that is her URL down below, cindyforthecouncil.com. We're very excited about that.
Thank you.
And we're very excited to have you on the show today. It was really, really good. You guys, if you want any information, want to learn about real estate or being productive versus busy, or how you can do more with your schedule, reach out to Cindy or reach out to me and I'll get you in touch with Cindy. That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great week.
Have a great week, everybody. We love you. We'll be back next week. See you soon.